Hello and welcome to another episode of Learn It from Vince. As I promised before, I plan to discuss a more basic topic for new aspiring developers. So today I'll be discussing about jump starting your web design using Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is something that is well known in web development. So this is very interesting topic for all of you guys. So what are we waiting for? Let's start coding now. Okay, so before we start, we need our prerequisite here is we should have a basic knowledge of HTML. So I'm sure you're pretty familiar with it. If you are really aspiring to be a web developer, you should already learn basic HTML syntax and some basic knowledge in CSS. So it's the cascading style sheet, as we know, where we can put some themes on our elements on our HTML. Okay, I will not be discussing this because I will assume that you have this basic knowledge already for you to take this lesson. And we will be using VS Code. So it's a lightweight program, IDE. I love using VS Code because I can do JavaScript development, Node, even Visual Studio or Python. I can do anything on VS Code. Okay, and then of course browser to show your output. Okay, so at the end of this lesson, we will learn how to set up our pages with Bootstrap, and then we will be learning the grid system, which is important on the web design. Of course, we will be learning also what is a mobile first design. Okay, and then I'll be jumping on some utilities and components that are ready made for Bootstrap, and then we will try to create our first web page using Bootstrap. Okay, so let's start with the folder structure. So of course you have to arrange your files so that it would be logically arranged. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the CSS file on one folder, JS file on one folder, the IMG for images, the fonts, SCSS are the precompiled CSS, though we will not be tackling that much, and then common files for your navigation footers or any reusable part of your pages, and then of course the index page. So that is how we structure our web page. To download Bootstrap, you just need to go to their download page, and then I prefer doing the manual rather than using NPM or NuGet, so at least you know how to set it up manually. So download this. Okay, I already have downloaded this one. If I go to project and this one. Okay, so this is what's the content of it. So we have the bootstrap.css and bootstrap.min.css, and we also have the JavaScript file, Bootstrap bundle, and the bootstrap.js. Just to explain what, if you notice, there is that min here versus the bootstrap.css alone. The min means it is minified. So for optimization, the CSS files are being minified, meaning all spaces are removed. Removing all the white spaces and the carriage return, unlike this one where it is more readable format. Okay, so for development, we use the bootstrap.css, but when we're doing production, it's better to use the min. So the any extra spaces are being removed. Okay, so we already have now the content here. We can start by adding now the index page. I'll just go to my VS Code here, and then we'll create a new file. Let's call it index. And then let us save this to our folder. Save as, and then just just go to our projects folder and then Bootstrap here. Then I'll call it as index.html. Okay, just save as type as HTML. Okay, then save. Okay, so we already have the basic structure in place. So we have here the index.html. Then we can start writing the standard HTML format, which is, I know you all already know. This is the HTML, the head, title, and the body. Okay, let me copy this quickly. Okay, so here we put the title, Jumpstart with Bootstrap. Okay, and then after the title, we put all the links here. The link reference to our CSS file. Okay, so go here slash css slash the path to our css, and then we'll copy this bootstrap.css, copy that. Okay, sorry, I think the quotation is different because of the copy paste from PowerPoint. So that. Okay. Okay, now we can start writing the body here, but of course before that we also need to add JavaScript support. So some of the components on Bootstrap needs JavaScript to work. So let's include the bundle. Slash js slash then most of the time we really need to include the jQuery. So let's download the jQuery. So jQuery is a powerful tool. Same with Bootstrap. This is a well-known library that any web developers are using. So let's download. So now we're ready. Let's just put some. Let's see how that our index page is rendering. Okay, so when we go to our index page, hello world there. So let's see that our includes are being included properly. Let's open the developers. Okay, so it's not because we use the slash. Okay, so let's remove the slash. Okay, see you. Okay, Bootstrap JavaScript requires jQuery. Did I? Okay, sorry. So the jQuery should come first after the bundle, because some JavaScript jQuery calls are already made. Okay, so let's go back here and refresh. Okay, no more error. As you can see a while ago, the fonts are different. The Bootstrap already defined standard styles on all your elements, like H1, H2, H3. It already defines the font size, the font style to use. So to get started with, even without adding any classes, it already give you styles on basic HTMLs that we will be using. Let us discuss about mobile first design. As we know, our website will not only be showing on a desktop. So it can also be used on a mobile or a tablet. So the challenge is how will we make our website responsive to these different sizes of screen resolution. Bootstrap has provided solution for this problem using responsive breakpoint. As you can see here on my presentation, different sizes of screens are already defined using pixel. So anything less than 576 is treated as a portrait mobile. Okay, and then any devices greater than or equal to 576 would mean that you are viewing it on a mobile in a landscape orientation. Likewise, a medium breakpoint would mean that you are viewing it on a tablet and a portrait orientation, and a large breakpoint would mean you're viewing it on a tablet in a landscape orientation. So anything larger than that is treated as extra large, or anything greater than or equal to 1200 pixel. This is already the desktops. Okay, so just remember this code: XS for extra small, SM for S small, medium, MD, LG for large, and XL for extra large. Okay, because we will be using this a lot. The idea of this mobile first design is to make our website fluid, whereas we make our screen smaller, the content will just be pushed down. As we know, the way we browse our website through mobile is we just scroll up and down. We don't usually scroll left and right, right? So that's the idea there, to make our design responsive and fluid. Let us now jump to our code to show you how it works. The first element that we want to add to our pages is a container. So we have several container classes. So container limits the width of our pages. Okay, so if we set container, then we are defining the padding on the left and the right of our screen. So let me just show you how it works. Let's add a div with a class of container. And then I use this style just to give space on our div and some color. Let's just put some contents here. Okay, so when I go back to my index page, fresh. Okay, so you see here, this is my container. And you see there's a padding bit from left and right. Okay, so as I resize the screen, you see it adjusts depending on the breakpoint. Okay, see here it adjusts. So this is now on a small, I believe. Okay, then go smaller than that, we have 100%. Okay, so that's the container. Let's go back here. So we have container-SM, container-MD, and container LG, XL, and fluid. Let's just try LG here. If I change this to container-LG and go back to my index page. F5. Okay, so since the resolution here is for extra large, if I just resize it to something equal to or greater than the large, okay, so this is the large, as we said before, the large is for landscape orientation of a tablet. So on a tablet, on a landscape version orientation, we can see our container as 100%. Okay, so you can use other containers, and of course the fluid is for totally 100%. whether it's the extra large to extra small. Fluid. Okay. Here again. 5. Okay, so there. So it's always 100% on any breakpoints. Let us now take a look at the Bootstrap grid system. Bootstrap uses the magic number 12 because 12 can be divided in many ways. It can be divided by 2, by 3, by 4, by 6, and by 12. So our pages can be laid out with maximum of 12 columns. So here is an example. So this row was divided into 3 using call for, and call for. So let's just try it on our code. Okay, so before you can use column classes, you need to wrap them in a row. So of course, so Bootstrap or your CSS suite knows how to divide it by row. So let's have it. It's like a table. No? So it starts with a row. Okay, row. And then our columns inside. P plus col dash 4. And let's just add the color in here and some text. Okay, so let's copy and paste this. Okay, so let's go back here. 5. Okay, so you see here we're using a fluid container, that's why it's 100%, but our 100% width was divided into 4 equal parts using call for. Okay, so as I resize my screen, it stays to 3 equal parts up to the extra small breakpoint. Okay, so that's when the breakpoint codes come handy, because you can now define how you want your screen laid out when it's viewed on a smaller screen. So let's say if I'm viewing it on a smaller screen, I want it to be stacked up. Let's use small. So small is landscape orientation of a phone. Okay, so let's just add here so we know what's going on. Okay, so let's go back here and refresh. Oh, so for the extra large screen, we can see our columns are still divided into 3 equal parts, but as I go to a small screen, this is extra small, and then here, so from small to extra large, our screen is divided into 3. But when we go down to extra small, then our column is stacked up. Okay, so that's the fluid design. You see, we never have a horizontal scroll bar. So let's just do now some combination. Okay, let's just copy this one, and let's say I want one part to be 4 and then the other is 8, and then let's remove this and then 8. So what happens is we divide it into 1 is 1/3 and then the other part is 2/3 of this screen. Okay, let's refresh this. Well, you see here, call for here, and then this one is wraps to everything from 8 columns. Okay, so same thing, as we resize it, it just goes down, so fluidly. Okay, So what happen if I have excess? For example, you mistakenly added another column which exceeds the magic number 12, so it just goes down. Okay, so that doesn't hurt at all. But of course, you're expecting that everything will be in a row. Okay, so and then you can also skip the number and the last on the last column, and it will take everything. So for example, just remove this one. Okay, so without, let's say I put here 6, okay, and without calculating, I just want to put call SM. So that will take 2, since 4 plus 6 still misses 2 to become 12. So that will take up all the spaces. Good. So again, when we go to smaller screen, still piling up like that, stacking up. We can also do combination of breakpoints. So for example, for a smaller screen or for a mobile view, you want 1 column, and then for a tablet, you want it 2 columns, while on a larger screen like desktop, you want it 3. So let's do that. I'll just copy these 3 equal parts here. Okay. Then we say 3 columns for the extra large. Okay, and then we will use call dash medium for a tablet size for 6. So the problem here is these 2 columns already occupies 12 column. So what happens to the last one? It will just be pushed down, but we can take all the rows, all the columns. So we can say call dash md dash 12 to occupy all the row when it's on a tablet view. And then we don't need to do for mobile view, but because it's automatically be showing in 1 column. Okay, so let's save and refresh our index page here. Okay, so looking at this 4th row, we have 3 columns for a large. Okay, we have 1 columns since this is a extra small breakpoint. But if I go to there, so if I go to the medium size or medium breakpoint, I have 2 columns, and then the third element is pushed down, occupying the whole row. Okay, great, that's great. With that, you can do a lot with your layout. I will leave it to you to explore other things in the grid system. So just go to the Bootstrap documentation and you'll have everything you need. It's easy to follow. Just go here and then you'll see everything here. Okay, I just want to go now to some utilities that we can use. I have here a training material I got from Udemy. I probably need to ask the author if I can share it with you. But let's just jump into it so quickly before we can start creating our own website. Okay, so we have here are the utilities. So basic typography, as I said earlier, there's already predefined styles on all our elements like H1, the bold, normal, or black coats. It's already defined by Bootstrap. Okay? What I want to go here is the text alignment in displaying. This is one very useful utilities. So you can do text alignment left, center, or text align right. Okay, and you can also control it on a smaller or a larger screen like this. So as the content is saying here, right align on large or larger. Okay, so it's right aligned when it's large. Okay, so here it's right aligned on small or larger. So if we go extra small, it goes to left align. Now let us see how it works. Let me just remove this row here. Let's leave the container there, and then let's use P for our content. Here. As you can see, there's already an IntelliSense, so it's easier for me to select elements and class name. Okay, so since it's a text align, I'll start with text dash, let's say right. Okay, so you can see here I have text right, LG, MD, SM, XL right. Okay, so you see there's no extra XS right. That's because the text dash right is already for the smallest one. So if you use text dash right, it will take from the smallest to the extra large. Okay, let us now refresh our index page here, and let's see. F5. Okay, so I'm on the smallest screen up to the largest screen. It stays on the right. Okay, but if we put some more combination of the breakpoints, we can say text dash MD left, which will push to left when we are on the medium to extra large screen. Let's save it and refresh. Let's start with the smallest here, F5. Okay, see here it's the smallest. It stays on the right, but as I move it here and go to the medium there, it jumps to the left up to the largest one. Okay, so there's the alignments. So there's a lot to explore here. Again, you can check the Bootstrap documentation. Let's just go run through this quickly so we can start doing our pages. So we have here floats and positions here. So we have here a fixed top and a fixed bottom, where even scrolling here, they still remain on the top and the bottom. And then we have some sticky. So this is one great feature here. So take a look what happens here. Okay, it sticks on the top. Okay, great. And then okay, so we can just take a look using the debugger tool. Okay, so the fixed top, let's start with this. So let's just write and inspect. Okay, as easy as that. So just putting this one, let's just copy and see, and then put it here on our index page just to show that it's working. Though we don't have so much content, so we cannot really demonstrate that. Okay, so what else we have in our utilities? We have colors and backgrounds there. Okay, so there are predefined colors, which is the primary, secondary, success, info, warning, danger. So these are the common colors that our website are using. So it's already defined. Of course, when danger means like error or delete button, so it's normally red. Okay, for a success indicator, it's normally green. And then for a good web design, there should only be two colors on your palette. It's the primary and the secondary. It doesn't look good if you have so much color on your page. So maintain a two color combination on a page, on a site. That's the rule of thumb of designers. Okay, so of course we have different shades of gray. We have text, dark color, muted, black 50. Okay, and then yeah, the colors for the links. Okay, so if let's just jump in and see from our debugger here. So we have here text success, right? Okay. There's something there. Yeah, there's light here. Okay. And then of course same background colors. So we have here BG primary, and then the text is white, so it will have a contrast with the background. Okay, then the BG secondary, which is gray. It's a blue and gray combination. Okay. Okay, so what else do we have here? We have here spacing. Okay. So yeah, here's another utilities that is very helpful, because there's now shortcut for defining your margin bottoms or top and padding. So instead of writing an inline style to put some margin in, there's already defined margins for you. Let's check it from our code. So I'll just put here a div so we can put some margin and padding here. Okay, so the class name for margins just starts with the letter M. Okay, and then the position followed by the position. So we have T for top, B for bottom, R for right, and then L for left. And then we also have, if we want both sides of left and right, we have MX, okay, which denotes the x-axis, which is the horizontal for the left and right margin. Same likewise with the y-axis for the top and the bottom. Okay, and then if you don't specify the position, then you are putting the margins all over. Okay, let's try, just try here M5, and then let's go back here, and then 5. Okay, so you can see here, if you inspect element, okay, so you see the orange one is the margin. Okay, so it wraps to 5 margin, 5 pixels. Okay, likewise with the padding starts with P, and then we have P, padding top, padding bottom, padding right, and padding left, and we have the padding X, and then padding on the y-axis. Okay, then we also have, of course, auto. So for example, we have let's just go back to margin X auto. Okay, that means auto means it will occupy any remaining space. So since I specify x-axis, then it will occupy any remaining space from left to right equally. Okay, making this margins and paddings text in center. But of course, we need to specify the width of this div using style. Let's say let's just use style. Width, let's say 20. Okay, so we need to specify the width. So the auto will distribute any remaining spaces after the 200 px that we specify for the div, and it will distribute it from left and right. Okay, and making these margins and paddings into our center of our row. Okay, so if I refresh this one, okay, so see, it's that's how the auto works. Same thing, we can do it vertically. Right, so that's now for padding and margins. Let's check what else we have here. Sizing. Okay, so we have percentage of weeds. Okay, just the same thing, and probably I'll just leave it to you to explore. Okay, I just want to jump into the flex box. Okay, so this flex box is another a very good addition to Bootstrap 4. Okay, so as web design becomes modern, the magic number 12 becomes limited for other designs. So where for example we cannot divide our screen into 7 because of the limitation of our magic number 12. Okay, so this is being solved when, through the addition of the flex box, which is introduced on Bootstrap 4. So with flex box, you can specify as many columns as you want, and it will just be stuck into a row or into a column. So if you see here, I have 3 flex box here, and they all stuck to the left. And if we inspect here how it works, okay, so specifies here that the deflex is a row orientation, and then any items inside there will become a column. Okay, and then it's up to the width of the div, and you have to specify the width if you just to control how those div will be placed inside the row. Okay, so let's jump here. Okay, so here is the align right of the flex box. Okay, how does it happen? So we have here deflex flex here. Okay, so it uses a reverse. Deflex flex row reverse. That means it will start from right to left. Okay, let's just copy. You can just copy this one and put it on our copy here. Okay, so we have here the flex row reverse, okay, which will reverse the our flex boxes inside. And I think he also defined the row height. Let's add it here, just to have a height on our div, right? 20 px. Go here, 5. Okay, here. So we see. Let's just put the theme color so we see how it goes. Okay, 5. So here it starts from reverse from right to left, and if I remove the reverse, just the flex row, and F5, oh, it goes there. So if I say, let's just try column there. Okay, so now it becomes a column, and then any items inside it will become a row. That's the reverse logic of the flex row. Okay, so there's more advanced technique you can use with flex. Okay, you can do you can center them. See, okay, so using justify content center. Okay, so if I copy the same flex, let's put it back to flex row, justify content center. So there's a lot of justify. We have justify center, between, and around. Okay, so if I put justify center, let's jump here, 5. Okay, it puts our flex items between. Okay, and then if I say between, it will put the spaces, the remaining spaces in between of the items. Okay, here, so pushes everything from left and the right, and then the remaining in between those boxes. Let's just add some box. Okay, so if I put 4 boxes here, okay, so we see equal in between. And when we say around, then it will also have a margin on left and right. There, so that's the around. Okay. What else did we not use yet? So if we say and it's just the same as the reverse, I guess. Oh yeah, it's just the same as the reverse. There's so much to explore with this flexbox, and probably I'll leave it to you to explore. Okay, so here there's some combinations like that, but we'll not be discussing that anymore. So I think I forgot one more utility which is important. Let's just go here and so another utility that is very useful is using visibility. So sometimes we want to hide some element when it's viewed on a mobile or on a tablet, but we want to show everything when it's on a desktop. Okay, so there we can use hidden classes. For example, which one I want to hide? Let's say I want to hide this content on the top. Okay, we have here different hide. It's in the display. So it starts with D dash. Okay. Okay, D dash none. Okay. So D dash none means it will not display on certain breakpoint up to the largest. Now, for example, I specified that this content will not be displayed on medium screen. So if I save this and let's go here, and if I, since I'm on a large screen, the content here was disappears. And if I just minimize my screen to the smallest here, this is the extra small, and then as it reaches medium, there it hides. Okay, let us reverse the logic. So what if I want to hide something when it's on small but display it on medium to large? Okay, so to do that, let's say we want this one to do that. We have to hide it to every breakpoints first. Okay, that's the first thing. So it won't show on any screen size. Okay, so it's hidden. Okay, and then we specify when we want it to display. So I want it to display on medium, and that will take on until the extra large block. Okay, so what happens here? Okay, the margin padding goes back here on a extra large screen, and as we reaches medium to going to small, okay, it hides. Okay, so that's the display utilities. We can do a lot of that, a lot of things on that. There's also way to hide elements when you when on print preview. So we have here the print, yeah, there. So the print none, that means if I print preview my screen, control P, okay, you'll see here that the margin was the text margin and padding was not showing on the print preview. Okay, that's great. I will end my part 1 here, and I will let you explore the capability of Bootstrap. Just need to visit this Bootstrap documentation, and it has all you want to know. And on part 2, we will be building our first website using Bootstrap. So here's a sample. Okay, so stay in touch, and we will be doing more coding. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button. Happy coding!